Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the weekend update. We had a really good, interesting week last week, and the reason I say that is we're starting off here with the Dow chart, which, as we know, it's just been a handful of stocks over this last month or two that continue to rally while most of the market has been dead. One of the deadest markets, one of the deadest tapes we've seen in a long time. But things started to turn on Wednesday. You can see here, we've got this back and forth chop here on the Dow. And usually when you see this kind of action, it's telling us there's going to be a big move, either up or down. I actually think it's going to be up market wide, but as we know, headlines can determine where things move. But going into this week, I'm feeling rather bullish on the setups I'm seeing out there. QQQ, same kind of setup, back and forth action, looking like it wants to make a move. But let's look at the small cap charts. This is the micro cap index I talked about last week, and you see solid rebound started on Wednesday. Now, Wednesday was a great bottoming action day. It was one of the most active days we've seen in quite a while. Thursday started off extremely active. It looked like the bounce was confirmed. And then the headline BS about taxes came out, and the algos went crazy and sell mode, scaring everyone to the sidelines again. Of course, that only lasted one day, and back to our regularly scheduled bounce we went on Friday. IWM, larger caps, small caps, also in a very nice move up. Now, it has been a dead few weeks. And if you're looking around on the business headlines right now, you're going to start seeing a lot of this sell in May, go away nonsense. I'm going to tell you this. That used to be the case, but when they tell you something like that in the headlines, it usually means do not listen to it. This time last year, when we had the pandemic sell-off, the same kinds of headlines were coming out about sell in May. And as I was mentioning in the chat room, May is when the mania really started to hit last year. May and June were phenomenal. We had big market sell-offs, of course, with the pandemic, and then May into June was wowzer time. Things are curling and looking like we could have a very nice couple of weeks here. Now, as we learned on Wednesday, no matter how things look, if the right bad headline is out there, all bets are off. That is why I am still high cash, still half positions, but I'm starting to tiptoe into new swing plays for the first time really in a month. Picked up some swings this past week. So I'm dipping my toes into the water here because I like what I see on these charts. And let's jump into some of these charts right now. AI. As you know, over the last few months, I've used this as kind of my barometer for the speculative action out there in the market. And it has put a bottom in as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to be probably looking for an entry into this stock in the next few days. I'd like to see a little bit of a dip, but it may not. So I'm going to have a decision to make here when it gets to that $72, $73 level. But my near-term target would be the 50-day moving average. And you're going to see this on a lot of the charts I'm posting today. After we've had sell-offs, I don't care that this stock was at $176. A mistake a lot of new traders, and actually, quite frankly, a lot of old traders too, make is because the stock was here, when it bounces, it has to go back there. No, you got to take baby steps first. The moving averages, I've got a video on all of these things on why I use the indicators I use. So if you're not familiar with it, just go on the watch list videos and you'll see those videos I've highlighted. But moving averages make for some of the easiest targets on bounces. My first target when I'm playing bounces is this green line, 20-day EMA. Many times you'll see me post when I'm talking about a stock that XYZ stock is 30% under its 20-day EMA. I like that as a bounce because as you can see when you look at these green lines, stocks have a magnet to this near-term moving average. So when it's substantially below, there's a good chance we're going to see a nice bounce. After the 20-day, my next favorite target, especially on bounces after a really bad market, is the 50-day moving average. So those are the two moving averages you're going to see throughout these charts that I'm going to show. Those are my simple moving average, bounce targets. You don't have to make charting hard. You can make it as simple as possible. I've simplified my stuff. I've been trading for over 20 plus years. What you see on this chart are the indicators that I've learned to come and use. UNAMI. So let's jump into some plays now. We we did not want stocks to put out news over the last couple of weeks. Now, granted, we have been waiting for news on some of these stocks 84 years, as she said in Titanic. UNAMI, I don't know what. Maybe they need to hire an IR guy or something because these guys don't know how to write a press release. But now we're okay if they put a press release out. Again, we're waiting on the Ambry battery test news. It would also be nice if these clowns would put out a press release that the U.S. Army talked with them versus putting all their information on conference calls. Again, that's just my opinion. But this week, the way things are setting up, we get some news out of these stocks, these companies, and they likely are going to move. What we saw in the last few days are the kinds of stocks that were moving were A, stocks about to drop financings, low floats, and Wainwright, etc. wanted to run them up, or stocks that had news that was kind of ambiguous and the scanners took control of it, and then because there's not a lot of movers, scanners chase scanners and traders chase scanners and etc., etc., etc. This week seems like we should start to see some solid news bounces. First target here, 103, 50-day moving average, 129. XPL, same thing. This one moves lockstep with UNAMI. Now, XPL on its presentation this past Monday made itself a stimulus play, infrastructure stimulus play. What, you say? They had a spreadsheet on it regarding their materials and the steel market. So that is a nice little tidbit. Maybe they'll issue a press release. Now, one thing I want you to look at on these charts, RSI, MACD, and Stochastic. So when I'm looking for turns on charts, I want to see RSI bouncing up like this. I want to see MACD trying to go positive. And I want to see Stochastics curling up and breaking the downtrend, as you can see here on this chart. Another one, ITP. Another one we're waiting on news. You can see RSI curling and heading towards that 50 level. We've got a nice bottom curl in here. We're waiting for that news. Their IR has no problem sending press or emails out to people saying they've got approval and they're waiting for the paperwork. Let's get that press release. 75 cents, 74.75 makes for a good moving average first target here on some news. Again, Stochastics curling upward. VISL is finally bouncing. That should tell you everything is about to move here. Nice roller coaster bottom here. 20 days about to break. Next up would be the 50-day. You can see again here this curl on RSI. MACD trying to go positive. Stochastics curling up. I mean, you're going to start to see these patterns and what I'm looking for when I'm looking for these bounce plays. COMS, comms. Look at this implosion here with the market from the 5s all the way down here. Nice curl bottom in. Now it's touched that 20-day exponential, so it closed over this level, and the next moving average target here would be a move up to this 3+ area. ACST, all the way down, curling, bottoming nicely here, but you can see positive MACD cross. Stochastics now in a nice uptrend. RSI starting to curl. Couple of moving averages here. The break on this one is the 200. Let's just say 51 cents. This breaks 50 cents, and you're really going to see these penny algos that have kind of been missing for a while pour into this stock. The volume doesn't even show up here based on the amount of volume we had on this stock before. This is probably going to take a 20-30 million volume day, and when it comes, it could be very, very explosive to the upside. 50-day moving averages at 66 cents. Again, these guys have been saying they're working on stuff behind the scenes. That should, I mean, it's been 6+ months since they said they were looking for a merger target. Now is the time to say they found that target, and the scanners and the algos will be loving this on any kind of positive press release. AYRO, a nice solid bounce on this one. Next up, a close over the 200-day moving average would set up a move up to the 6+ area. let's jump into some new swings. I picked up some new swings this week, so as I said, I'm tiptoeing back into some new swings. AIKI. These guys canceled their offering. This is good news. The last one that I recall that canceled its offering was sometime last summer. It was COCP that canceled its offering, and the stock had been beaten up, held around the dollar area, and a couple of weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks later, this stock was up 50 to 75%, if I recall. Now, what tends to happen when these guys have these shells out, they're not supposed to do it, wink, wink, but we know that's what happens. They short the stock. Well, they're starting to cover because they're not getting those free shares that they know they can get at a discount from this company in an offering. We've got a nice bottom on this chart. It got all the way up to the 20-day exponential and then closed just under it on Friday. Next stop, 50-day moving average, 123. Again, you can see that pattern. Nice bounce on RSI, about to get a positive MACD, and stochastics curling nicely up. So this stock looks nice in the near term. Another new pickup Friday, VERB. Look at this implosion on this stock over the last month. Straight down. Nice volume confirmation as well on the bottom here. First target, 144. That's where the 200-day moving average is. And then a secondary target would be the 50. Now, this thing fell so much, it dipped right under the 200-day moving average like it didn't even exist. So that makes for a nice little bounce. Again, look, you see here on RSI and stochastics, you can just go through charts looking for these kinds of turns on them, and it's a good chance you're going to get some nice trades out of that setup. Last stock I'm going to talk about here, ASTC. One of our swing plays that's just been a beauty over the last few months. SYPR, let me pull up SYPR here, SYPR. Now, they had a deep space press release. Pretty good timing given the NASA stuff on Mars. Very vague in the press release, no information, and that's usually the kind of stocks they ramp nicely higher. Big pop. I'd be a buyer on this one if it dipped under 3 again. I mean, as you can see, the stock has a habit of popping and dropping after news, but it makes for great ATM, just recurring trading revenue on the swing, buy dips, sell the news chases. But that is why ASTC, Space Biotech, the 20-day is at 151. This stock was, 120. So that's 30% divergence from the 20-day. That's quite a divergence, which makes for a very nice bounce target. RSI is still in the early curl stages, and we're about to get a positive MACD cross, and stochastics are still in that early stage. But this is a nice bottomed chart that looks really, really good going into this week. So that's it for the video, guys. Again, I like what I'm seeing on the market, but it doesn't mean I'm going to go crazy and decreasing my cash levels or going to full positions. I'm still half positions, approximately 90% cash in my swing account. I'm tiptoeing into some of these stocks. As things start to build, you recall me mentioning in the chat room, one of the things I like to see happening that's another indication for me that there's a possible bottom out there is stocks that I was watching, but the fact that I'm being cautious, I'm not adding them. I'm just watching them, and then I'm missing entries, and they're running. That's started to happen, as I mentioned in this last week. I've started to look, want to buy, didn't buy on numerous stocks, and they're starting to bounce. That to me means I'm seeing the right plays. Time to get a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more positive. So that's it for the video. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you all in the chat room tomorrow. Bye.